Good morning and namaste. Um, my name is KJ Hamus, and I'm excited to be bringing you this morning yin practice. Let's use our practice this morning for some self-care, but also as an opportunity to reset, recharge, and get ready for the day so we can use our voices for good in the world. So I hope you're ready. Let's go ahead and get started. A couple things you'll need today. Remember, coming in is a blanket, a pillow, and blocks or yoga block equivalents. You don't need any special equipment. Just whatever you've got around the house is great. And you can have multiple blankets, multiple blocks, multiple pillows, so whatever works for you. And again, if you don't have like yoga blocks, books work fantastic. Board games are great as well. So whatever you need here, go ahead and get those items. And we're going to get started on our backs today in an active savasana. So knees are going to be up in the air, soles of the feet on the ground. Maybe bring your feet hips width distance apart. Let the arms rest by the sides. So depending on how you're feeling today, palms can face up or palms can face down for grounding. It might be a nice idea to start with palms grounding so we can feel the connection with the earth and we can start to call on the energy that is all around us. So I invite you here as you settle in a moment of silence to honor the teachers and practitioners who come before us, the teachers and practitioners who've shaped this practice, not only the asana, the physical part, but our meditation and our breath. I want to thank them for their contributions, for bringing us this ancient practice from India over 5,000 years ago, this practice of liberation and freedom. And then as you're ready, let's take a deep, slow breath in through the nose. And exhale, open the mouth, sigh it out, let it go. Deep, slow breath in. Exhale, open the mouth, let it go. Inhale. Exhale. Orienting yourself in space and time. The space being here and the time being now. So as we honor the path it took to come to our mat this morning, I invite you to set your intention or focus for your practice. So thinking of your morning practice as a way to recharge, reset, be in your body. And sometimes recharging and resetting means feeling all of the emotions that are flowing through us right now. They may not be easy emotions, they might be challenging. So let's use the shapes today to create more space in the body so we can breathe and really be able to give ourselves to love and compassion to those around us. As we tune in to our body this morning, bring your focus to the low belly, drawing the attention to the subtle rise of the inhale and the subtle fall of the exhale. observing in a non-judgmental way how the breath is moving in the body. So try not to change anything, control anything. What do you notice about how it moves? So where does it start? Is it getting stuck in any place? Is it shallow? Is it heavy? Is it comfortable or uncomfortable? And then as you're ready, start to broaden your awareness, feeling the weight of your body on the mat and noticing the temperature in the room and how that feels on the skin. And observing here in the physical body, the areas of restriction, where you're feeling bound or where you're feeling tight, the areas of openness. Pay particular attention to where those areas are specifically. Are they in the chest, in the throat? Maybe the areas that are bound are around the heart. You feel like you can't speak. Can you feel openness in the heart toward yourself? And then start to draw your focus to your heart space. Taking this moment to honor and observe what you're bringing with you to your practice today emotionally. So there's no right or wrong response to what you're bringing with you emotionally. We do not have to show up positive and perky to yoga. We want to use this practice to truly feel what we're feeling and create more space for that and honor those feelings. And what you're feeling, name your feeling. You can be sad, mad, confused, happy, joyful, grateful. Just name them. Don't try not to linger on it too much in this moment, but name it. Know what is coursing through the body. And then gently bring awareness to the space between the eyes. Let's check in with the mind. So observing the thoughts as they're moving through the brain. Active. There are a lot of thoughts taking place right now that are all grasping for your attention. Are you able to move toward a bit more stillness, to soften the mind, allow yourself to go deeper in the body? And it's okay if you're carrying a lot of thoughts with you at any given point on any day during your practice. Do your best just to observe the thoughts as they move in and out. But if the thoughts are really getting to be too much, if they're clamoring too much for you, stop for a moment. And I invite you to take a deep breath in, gathering up as many thoughts as you can, giving them a gentle hug, and then slowly moving them on their way. With each subtle inhale, let the brain begin to compact softly as the thoughts move out. And then as you exhale, feel the brain expand. And as the mind moves towards softness, moves towards stillness, it melts toward the sides of the head. So one thing that makes yin different from just regular stretching is our connection between breath and body and mind. So I invite you to visualize a subtle line of energy stemming from the crown of the head, traveling down the spine, back to the low belly, base of the spine, the root. And as you inhale, feel the breath come in from the root. As it travels up the spine, through the belly button, past the sternum, the throat, the third eye center, to the middle of the brain. And then as you breathe out, feel the breath travel from the middle of the brain down the back side of the body, through C7, the thoracic spine, all the way meeting back at the root where you started. Let every breath anchor you to the earth's energy, the earth's core. And let every inhale and exhale soften the body and work toward openness. So keeping the eyes closed, keeping with that movement, that orbital breath, breathing in the front side of the body, feeling the breath travel up the belly, the midbrain, and then as you exhale, feel it travel down the back. Start to visualize that now. We'll move into our first shape with that visualization. We're going to come into happy baby. So keep the low back on the ground. And that's going to be really important because we want to protect the low back. Open the legs out to the sides and several options for the feet. So you can reach for the outsides of the feet. Peace fingers can wrap around the big toes. Or depending on how open you're feeling, bring your hands behind your legs. Try to avoid directly behind the knees due to all of the nerves that are behind the knees. We don't want to put too much pressure there. We want to be really gentle there. So I like to bring my hands directly below the knees and then keep the elbows on the ground to provide support. And just let the legs fall. This is going to help us keep that connection in the earth. I promise I'm just setting the timer and I'm not checking my email. It's going to help us keep the connection to the earth, which is what we're looking for here, and start to gently open the hips. And so note that we carry a lot of emotions throughout the body. So if we haven't had a chance to fully express those emotions, they can live in the body, causing tension, causing us to feel restricted. So especially in the morning, the hips might be feeling restricted, depending on how you slept or where you're carrying your emotions at today. And that doesn't mean you're carrying them all in the hips. You could be carrying them in other places too. One thing to note is that this is feeling rough on the front side of the hips. Consider maybe even bringing the soles of the feet to touch a little bit to start. That might loosen up some of that compression. You want to be able to do your best to hold it and find stillness. So having the legs open out wide first thing may not feel the greatest, and we really want to use this practice as a place for us to settle in, working through the discomfort in the physical part of the body and not leading the physical body to pain. So continue to visualize the breath here. Breathing in, feeling the breath travel from the root up to the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, feel the breath travel down the back side of the body. Slow and steady. No need to force it. Just notice how the breath is moving naturally. So in our yin practice, we'll work through three main principles. The first is finding the appropriate depth for your body today. So again, those subtle changes can make all of the difference. And taking variations just help us meet where we're at in the moment. So honor that. Try to go to about a 70%. And then the second principle is going to be time. We've been in this shape about 2 minutes now. We've got a little less than a minute left here. Time is what allows the body to settle in, the muscles to release, so we can work into the fascia, the connective tissues, those deeper layers. And then finally, stillness. And stillness may be the most challenging part, but it's in the stillness that we're able to let gravity do the work. Let go of trying to hold ourselves up at the moment so we can be right where we need to be at. Notice what happens when we're able to embrace the stillness. Are we able to loosen? Or are we finding new areas where we're truly bound and restricted? Let's take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. If you haven't already, bring your soles of the feet to touch and draw the knees open out to the sides. So coming into a supine butterfly here. Don't worry about the knees needing to be able to touch the ground. Just let them fall where they want to fall. We won't be here for long, but if you'd like, feel free to place blocks underneath the knees. In the morning, again, we can feel compression in the hips, so opening that up might relieve some of that extra tension. And we'll use this as a place to check back in with how we're feeling. So stay with the breath, even starting to name the breath. Inhale and exhale for those actions. When you notice, how do you feel? And feel the body on the earth. Feel the connection. Then as you're ready, gently use your hands to draw the knees in to the body and bring them to a 90-degree angle. So hips stacked above the knees. And I like to bring my feet hips width distance apart. Tuck the tailbone under so the low back is on the ground. Bring your hands just below the knees onto the thighs and press gently onto the thighs as the knees gently press back. We're going to take a dead bug here to help us warm up our core, to activate our core, and breathe. So keep the knees at a 90-degree angle, low back tucked into the earth. This does not need to be a lot of sucking in of the belly. Think about that as just a way to activate the muscles. Hold and breathe. You've got this. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Keep your knees at a 90-degree angle and gently draw your left heel down. Let it tap. Bring it right back up to that 90 degrees, and then let the right heel tap. So taking these heel taps with this dead bug variation, or an on the ground tabletop, if you will. Low back stays on to the earth. We're just awakening the core. I like to keep my hands on my thighs because it helps me keep them at a 90-degree angle. If you let the thighs come too far in, we're going to not feel the effects in the area that we want to. Let's take 5 more breaths. Keep breathing. Take 1 more full round. And then draw your knees into your chest. Give yourself a really big hug. And then massaging out the spine, take a few rock and rolls up and down the length of the spine. Crossing at the ankles, come to sit on up. Beautiful. All right, we're gonna come into our straddle pose next. And so bring your feet out as wide as they want to go. You might be finding creaks and cracks coming into the body as you take that shape, and that's perfectly fine. Just honor that. Maybe even smile a little bit. You're like, oh man, I slept funky last night. So bring the legs as wide as they want to go. If you're sitting up here and you find a nice tall spine, and notice that the hips are naturally tilting you back, so a more natural posterior tilt of the hips. Sit up on a blanket or a pillow. I don't necessarily recommend sitting up on a block for yin because it can be uncomfortable in the tush, but that's totally up to you and what you have available. By doing this, we're going to lift the hips above the knees a little bit more. So we're working toward finding the anterior tilt of the shape, which will help us get into the area that we're looking to stretch. So physically, we're looking to stretch the inside of the legs here. And you're going to feel a little stretch on the inside of the knees. Be mindful of that. If that's too much, consider bending the knees slightly, activating through the quads. And as you go through the shape, you might be able to let go of that activation of the quads and let the legs straighten as best. If you need to keep the knees bent throughout the practice, awesome. Consider maybe then putting your books or other pillows underneath the knee so you've got the support that you need. Reminding ourselves that variations are just about meeting ourselves where we're at. From here, we're going to start to walk forward, hinging at the hips. Don't actively reach for anything. We're just going to go where the body wants to take us today. And we're going to fold. Let a little rounding in the back happen. This can be a great place for a block or a pillow to bring the ground closer to you. So create your ground that way. What support do you need? Try and let the feet release. So I have a tendency to really grip my feet right here. And so it takes conscious effort to be like, okay, relax the feet. And we'll breathe here. So as we settle into the yin shapes, as we're awakening the body and we're getting a bit more into it, the first thing I invite you to do is find that appropriate depth. So take a couple of deep breaths in here, slow and steady. And then make any little adjustments you need to make. We're going to hold this shape for 4 minutes. And I only tell you that so you don't think we're holding it for long. And to be like, 4 minutes is the worst. Just holding it, breathing through that. And then from here, after you have found the appropriate depth for the body, come back to the breath. And I invite you to come back to your orbital meditation. So naming of the inhale and the exhale, feeling the breath travel from the root, from the base of the spine, all the way through the crown of the head, along the front side of the body, and then coming down the back side of the body. Establishing that, letting the body find its stillness by using the breath. And as you settle into the breath, as you're naming the breath, inhale, exhale through that orbital meditation, the breath that is designed to balance us, begin to observe the thoughts and feelings that are coming up. And start to name those. So whatever feeling is coming up, maybe it's tired or sad or whatever, just name it. Try not to linger on it too long. Same thing with thoughts. If it's a thought, just name it as a thought. However, if you notice the same thought or feeling coming up in the exact same way, maybe in the exact same area, or just slightly subtle differences, might be something to note. And if you're feeling safe right now in your home and in your body, allow yourself to fully feel what that is. Part of that safety too, and feeling maybe knowing you need more support, and it's okay just to take note of that and come back to it later when you feel you have the support you need. Be silent for the rest of the shape. Let you be with your body, taking what you need from About 30 seconds left here. Take a deep, slow breath in and a deep, slow breath out. Use your hands to slowly come back up. I invite you here to help yourself lift your knees up and maybe bring them into the chest. Let's come into Navasana boat pose. So hands can stay behind the thighs. Feel as if the heart is lifting up toward the ceiling. Keep the hands here, or maybe bring them to heart center, or even just cupcake the hands on the ground. That can feel good. And then let's just take a gentle bicycle shape. So extending one leg, turning toward the other. So the straightening out of the legs might feel really nice. And continuing to open up our core. We'll take one more round each side. And then slowly come on down. Okay. We're going to come into a double pigeon variation next. And there's two variations we can take with our double pigeon. The first option is going to be a square pose. And that can be really great if you find that the hips aren't fully awake to go into a deep external rotation of the body. Sometimes they're like, we're not doing that. So square is a great place to meet your hips at with where they're at. We'll start on the right side this morning. So cross your right ankle over your left. Draw the heels toward the opposite knee, so away from each other. And then draw the legs away from the body, almost as if you're creating a square in the legs. And then from here, fold forward. And depending on how you slept last night or what you're feeling, you're going to feel that in the hips. As you notice, I'm still sitting on my blanket because that's feeling nice to have that extra tilt in my pelvis. So feel it in the glutes on the outside of the hips. Double pigeon, the other option is to take your right leg and place it on top of the left. Ankles and knees stack one on top of the other. If you find that the knee is lifting off, not a problem. Stick maybe a block or even a pillow underneath the knee just to provide a little extra support. Close the gap. And then from here, fold forward. Again, depending on where you're at today, you may consider a block or two as well to rest the forearms on. We do not have to come all the way down to the ground. Now note, folding forward is an option so you can stay nice and lifted. If you're like, yeah, I feel that, that's my 70%. Take that, take it where you need to take it. We're gonna be here for 4 minutes on each side. So I'm gonna start the timer now and really let you tune into what you need and where you're at today. You don't need to hear me talk. I want you to be with what you're feeling with your breath. I'll give you a 30-second warning and About 30 seconds left here. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Your hands just slowly come on up. Before we move on to the other side, let's bring our feet hips width distance apart. And then as our hands come behind us, just rock back and forth with the hips. So loosening up the hips, noticing how they feel. And straighten the legs. I invite you to pause for a moment. Just check back in with yourself. Notice what's happening in the body right now. Notice what's happening with the emotions. Whatever's coming up, let it come up. Things can be released as we unblock energy channels and we let go of those restrictions in our body. And so finding additional stillness after the shake can really help us tap into that. And then as you're ready, we're going to move on to the other side. So if you took square pose, you're just going to switch which ankles on top. Again, cross at the ankles, work the feet toward the opposite knee, and then work the feet away from the body. I know it's hard to see right now. I didn't realize how much dark clothing I was wearing. We're just creating a square. There's a good gap in between the legs and the lower belly. So that's option one, folding forward. From here, if you're taking our double pigeon, stack left leg on top of the right knee and ankle, and feel free to stick a pillow or a blanket or a block underneath the knee. I'm kind of digging the pillow because it's just a little softer, it's a little gentler on the body. But again, use what you've got around. Use what feels good. And then fold forward if you'd like, or stay here. Note that we can feel different things on different sides of the body. So this side might feel a little bit easier to get into. You're like, oh, I can totally and fold forward. Or maybe, the other, your right side was that. So be mindful of those things too, and start to maybe just inquire why. Could it be a physical pattern that's taking place? Could it be something emotionally that's taking place? Our left side is considered our yin side of the body, so it's going to be our moon energy, our cooling energy, and it's going to align more with what we consider the plasticky parts of the body, where our right side is our yang energy, our sun energy, our more active energy. So it's very possible, especially if you could be right-handed and the right side's dominant, that could be a bit more open. Again, just things to explore, things to note. There's not a one size fits all. So it's about just observing. And I've already set the timer, and I'm going to let you all be where you're going to be at, and I'll see you in about 4 minutes. About 30 seconds left here. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Gently walk your way back up. Take any of your support, your props, move them off just to the sides, not too far. And then feet hips a distance apart, hands can come behind the body, and just side to side, internal and external rotation of the hip. So you may have noticed when you came out of the right side, there was a lot of popping in the body, or not. But if there was, hopefully this side there's slightly less. So that can be good news. And then instead of bringing our legs out nice and long, let's just come into a crisscross applesauce here. Sit up nice and tall. Feel the crown of the head reach. And so we've lost that subtle connection between the earth, the root, and the crown of our head and the sky above. Take a moment to reconnect with that now. It's a really important resource that we have by feeling that connection with the earth, feeling that groundedness all the way down at the base of the spine. So it can be through the seat, it can be through the feet, but take a moment to truly dive into that and feel that. And then in this position, draw the chin to the chest. Really tuck the chin in. We're going to take several breaths here. So we're locking our throat bandha, our Jalandhara bandha, and breathing into it. So we want to create some more space when we come out of it in the throat so our true voice can really begin to come out. We can really feel like we're speaking. So as we tuck the chin in, don't let the spine collapse. Sit up nice and tall. And breathe here. Might be a bit more challenging, but just work with it. Take small, subtle breaths. Feel free to breathe in and out through the nose or even open the mouth if you'd like. And then as you're ready, slowly lift the head back up. Noticing how you feel. We're going to come into a puppy pose next, which is going to get into the front side of the body and the shoulder joint. But the variation I'm going to invite you to take today is going to open up the throat a little bit more as well. So we directed our breath to the throat, through the throat. Now we're going to open it up while opening up the heart space. A couple of things to note here. As we're getting into the heart space, notice how vulnerable you might be feeling as you come into that. And that's perfectly normal, because the heart is a little bit more open in this shape. So if there's a lot of emotions or if you felt that you're feeling bound in the heart, that's something to note with that. And there's a couple of things we can do to try and help to keep that feeling safe. You may want to, depending on how your knees are, place a blanket or towel underneath your knees just for some extra support. I happen to be on my rug today, but sometimes if you're on hardwood, no matter how thick your mat is, it's never enough. I'm going to invite you to grab a block here. And as you come into a tabletop shape, keep the hips stacked above the knees and then start to walk the hands out. So notice as you come into this what you're feeling in the heart space. If it's a lot in that area, consider placing your pillow underneath the heart to provide a little extra cushion, a little extra support. And that can feel really nice underneath the shoulders too. But if that's all feeling okay, draw the chin either to a block or to the ground. So if you bring it to the block, it's going to definitely be a little bit more crunchy in the back of the neck, a bit more open in the throat. So be mindful of that. If the block doesn't feel good, drawing the chin down to the ground, keep the chin on the mat. Normally, you can bring the forehead. It's always an option if you're like, nope, that's too much crunch in the back of my neck. But if it feels all right, draw the chin onto the mat. Let the front part of the throat open. We'll be in this shape for 3 minutes. Breathe here. Again, keeping the chin on the mat is totally optional. Forehead is always good to go down on the mat if that's preferred. About 30 seconds left here. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Go ahead and come on up and sit into a child's pose. The knees underneath the chest. That's going to help us get a bit more into the low back. Feel the neck elongate. Maybe move around the jaw just a little bit. And take several breaths here. Keep the jaw loose. Try not to clench. And take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Stay here as long as you need. As you're ready, start to come on up. We're going to come onto our backs, closing out with a supine twist to reset the spine, reset the nervous system. Our supine twist will come into Savasana and then a closing meditation. So as you come onto your back, draw your knees into your chest. Let's drop our knees over to the left, gaze to the right. So knees can stay stacked one on top of the other, or even consider staggering your knees just a bit. That might change where you feel the shape. Try and keep the shape in the mid-back, but that might feel better in the body too. It's up to you. And breathe here. Take one more breath in, breath out. You need to bring your knees back toward your chest. And then drop the knees over to the right, gaze to the left. And feel free to stack knee on top of knee or stagger them, whatever feels good. Maybe now the hands start to open up toward the sky and receive energy. They can continue to stay palms face down for a bit more grounding. So notice what you need here. What's going to feel best for you. And then as you're ready, draw your knees back into your chest. Wrap your arms around your legs. Give yourself a really, really big hug. And then let everything go. Savasana, final resting pose. You can place the pillow underneath the knees or even underneath the feet. Try and keep the head as flat on the earth as you can. Notice how the breath is moving in the body now. Allow yourself to be here in this moment. Let go of work. Let go of having to hold yourself up. Feel the heaviness of the body as it sinks and grows roots into the earth. And feel support, the sky above. You are here. Begin to reawaken the senses, opening them back up to the world around you. It can be just in your home, doesn't have to go to the streets outside quite yet. And then invite some gentle movement back into the body by wiggling the fingers and wiggling the toes. Softly transition to a comfortable seat as you're ready. Absolutely no rush. Feel free to sit up on a blanket or a pillow or even a block. Legs can be out long or they can crisscross applesauce in a comfortable seat. And whenever you arrive in your comfortable seat, I invite you to draw your right hand over your heart and your left hand on top of the right. Noticing your heartbeat here. How is the heart moving with the breath? How can our heart guide us through the rest of our day? Let the heart be the ruler of all actions that we take. Showing compassion to ourselves, to our family, to our friends, and to others we happen to meet on the street. Spread love and compassion throughout the world. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Peace Peace Peace. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Hope you have a fantastic, fantastic day. Thank you so much for joining me, Kitty. I can't wait to see you in person. All right. Talk to you all soon. Have a wonderful day.